Persistent pain and arthritis. Take arthritis, swap it for any other structural element that you might or might not have, and let's just look at the relationship between pain and the structure itself. Linked. Pain and arthritis, they're culturally linked. Lots of people believe that their arthritis is the only cause of their persistent pain. The structure that they have, the degenerative changes, the evidence they've got on x-ray, and that's not an unreasonable belief because pain can come with arthritis. But before we go down that route of saying all pain is due to the structure, let's look at the other types of pain you can get. The experience of pain comes with damage. Okay, you can get damage and have pain. You can get new damage that's painful, and you can have old damage that's painful. But can you have damage without pain? Well, yes you can. If you've cut your finger and you look at it, you know what you've done, and you're okay with the pathway that you're going to recover, you don't need to walk around with your hand guarding it all day long. The stress response about that drops, and you can get on with your day and you won't feel the pain. Generally, there'll be moments where the body goes into a protective state if you've forgotten about it. If you put it in lemon juice or a bag of salt and vinegar crisps or maybe water, it'll sting, and it's reminding you that it's in the healing phase, which for all tissue is 4 to 6 weeks tissue healing phase, and then about 6 weeks conditioning, 3 months. Now the pain goes normally very quick, but even in a broken leg, the pain goes within a few days once the body knows it's protected and you know what's happened and you've got the medical health. So whether it's a small injury or a big injury, whether you need medical advice or you don't, once the stress response has dropped and you take responsibility or you have the medical attention to put you in a safe space, pain drops, tissue heals. Then you get the conditioning phase, which it can hurt whilst you're moving out of it and through it as you build back up to life, and there's your 3-month window. If it goes on longer than that, and you believe it's due to the structure, only due to the structure, you're mistaken, because there's other things contributing to it, whether that's arthritis, whether it's disc degeneration you believe is the cause, whether it's bursitis you're told, or whether it's tendinopathy or tendon problems, or just the physical structure itself. You're missing something. Let's just look at pain from, have you ever had a phone call from someone who tells you somebody in your life that you would like to be there isn't going to be there anymore, or is going to be ill and it looks like they're not going to be there anymore? Unfortunately, probably all have had that. Now, you're a robot or a liar to say you didn't feel anything in your body. Right, you'll have felt something, or you've felt a numbness with that information. You might have felt nothing because of the numbness. That's emotional pain. That's the surge of adrenaline and cortisol to deal with the idea of what's going to happen or what has just happened and how you can cope with it. That's the fight or flight response, the freeze response, or fawn response. I can't cope because of the situation. So the way that that's processed in the brain and the way that persistent pain is processed in the brain, it's the same centres. It's the same centres. So when an emotional pain or when an emotion becomes attached to a physical sensation or pain, they become wired together. Now there's a potential there for, if the emotional charge in somebody's life returns to that level or keeps repeating at that level, the pain keeps firing with that emotion long after the tissue's healed. And when there's no injury, sometimes people just say my pain comes on, it just appeared, I just woke up. They start looking at the mattress, the weather, their movement, their height, their weight. They'll look at their family history and say it's always been in the family. It doesn't mean that pain hasn't appeared in people in their family or with the weather or when they've laid in bed or when they've had that particular pillar. It's just that it's not cause and effect. These are correlations. And that's the thing about arthritis, where people say, oh, it's always bad in the winter. It's I can wake up in the morning and my knee hurts. I know what the weather's going to be like. Now there's a physiological link going on there that's an unconscious level. It's a patterning of behaviour that it happens so fast that the reaction happens faster than the conscious thought appears. So yes, the pain is there on that day it's cold outside, but it's more there because you've told yourself it's going to be there. Culturally, you've been trained to believe it's there. Society has passed that on as well. Family, people who you trust, have walked around with bad backs on cold mornings, and that is enough power to trigger pain in you. If you believe that the structures you have and have proof for, what are the behaviours you're pretty much going to follow with those structures? The same ones, but it's all unconscious. So the pain with arthritis is real. The pain on the cold morning with arthritis is real, but you can have arthritis, degeneration, or any other structural thing without pain, because there are people who have those changes on the same cold morning and they don't have pain. What's the difference between the two groups? The ones who do have pain, they might know they've got those changes, they might fear them, they might have a model of behaviour around the pain. Then you start to look at the traits of the person. How do they deal with pain? They might push past it, they might fight it, they might not show it to anyone, they might be frustrated by it, and that's their body giving them the signal. But if they don't think enough of themselves, or never been trained enough or conditioned to care for themselves in the presence of pain, then they're just pushing through on the belief that the pain is arthritis or the structure, where actually it's more based on the emotions around that part of the body or that structure. So that's where the pain can surge with no physical driver with arthritis, or it just flares up. What, and you weren't doing anything, you sat in the chair. What happens? Some magical arthritis bucket gets poured out all over your knee. No, it doesn't. That's not what happens. The pain is real, but there's a surge of emotion, either that's just been happening, that you might have been so involved with that you didn't pick up on, or it's just about to. And remember, once you've got this pathway in place, pain, emotion, motion, pain, it doesn't need much physical stress, whether you like it or not, to trigger that pathway. It doesn't need much emotional stress, whether you like it or not, to trigger that pathway. Cortisol, adrenaline's fear and excitement. Movement's movement whether you're enjoying it or you're not. But if you're so wired to protect that part of your knee because of these beliefs, you've repeated that enough so it's like changing gear in the car. You don't have to tell your hand to go out to the side to change gear anymore. And it's exactly the same with pain. You don't have to tell your body, when I get up tomorrow morning it's cold, give me pain. It's doing it automatically. And it's not your fault if that pathway is in place, but you can reverse it. You don't have to reverse the arthritis, you don't have to reverse the degenerative disc or the spondylosis or the bursitis or the tendinopathy or you might have to condition the body to physically challenging it again slowly, but you can't do it by smashing through pain like you might have done in the past, and you can't do it through fearing it like you might have done in the past. So it is a paradigm shift, and it might sound like I'm presenting a flying pig to you and that I don't believe you for your pain, but your pain is absolutely real. It is just not due to the belief that you have historically thought. And if you want to think about trauma, about being right and being in control and needing to be absolute on your ideas, that's just a lack of flexibility. It's a trauma response, needing to be right. Could you be open to being wrong? How does that feel? You're wrong about your pain, wrong about your beliefs, and that's caused and contributed to your pain, and you're responsible for that. How do you feel about that? It's not a blame, it's saying, could you be responsible for your pain, and could you be responsible for your recovery? I'm looking you right in the eyes and asking you that. You have to decide if the answer is, yeah, I accept responsibility. I'm going to accept responsibility for my recovery. And you might need someone to help you, you might not. There's loads of free advice out there. There's loads of people babbling on like me, but we're seeing people recover. It's definitely worth having a look at.